Hey everybody, Steve Biederman, February 24th. Looking forward to talking to you today. And by the way, this is the last chapter of the first book, Lessons I've Learned in No Particular Order. So we're going to move from this to the second book, which is How I Build a Company, based on the Lessons I've Learned series. Today though, and I thought it would be a good way to kind of end this first book, is to talk to you about transparency, this idea of how do you communicate within your company. You know, since I've announced that I was going to speak about this in the last 2 weeks, I've just had an enormous amount of commentary coming back to me, with people talking about how critical it is to have openness within a company. But let me tell you what I've learned. In openness, there are risks. And the risks are not in terms of whether people can handle the truth. The risks are, to what degree do you share? To what degree is it relative to the lives of the people around you? And to what degree should you find that it's frivolous to share and it doesn't make sense? And to what is an open book? You know, how much do I open that book? And those are the things we all struggle with. Listen, every comment, almost every comment I receive in the last 2 weeks about transparency and management is about we need more, we need more, we need more. But if it was simple, I think everybody would be doing it. I am of the belief that you have to be clear with people in terms of why you're asking them to do something. You have to lead the band in terms of openness and clarity in the information that is necessary to all get on the same page in terms of building a company. And in doing that, you have to be able to understand the difference in honesty that is just vain and is just about that person, and honesty that is important and valuable to the people around you. My background after building my own company for and selling it was to become a turnaround CEO. And I've been hired by boards over the years to come in and turn organizations around. Now, when I built my company, that was a very open situation. I shared to the degree that my partners would get very frustrated with me. They would say, "You can't tell people this." And our situation is that we were financially in trouble all the time for years. So recognizing in my mind that people coming to work for us were also putting their jobs and their life on the line. And they weren't just minions that I needed to turn switches, but they were human beings that we required the best version of themselves. I felt that they deserved to understand the ecosystem that was really happening within our company, not the ecosystem of simply we're a software company building software, selling software, and caring about what we're selling to our customers. But more important, what are our conditions? And do you want to get on this boat? Because this boat does have a few leaks. And we aren't any more perfect than you are in terms of figuring out how to plug those leaks. But we're learning and we're joining together to do it. And I think there are benefits to it. So here's the way I did that specifically. We had financial problems. We absolutely believed in our future plan. We faced a time where early stage, when I took over this fledgling company from its original founders, and I took it over, and in taking it over, just to make sure that we could stay in business, I had to let a whole bunch of people go. So I'm sitting in a room, in a conference room, with all of the people that were left. It's a tiny conference room, and we had 7 of us. And we had just let go over 20 people. And obviously they were scared. Obviously they didn't know if they were in that room to lose their jobs. And they didn't know me all that well yet at the time because I was just taking over this company. And I said to them, what we just went through was scary. And I cannot tell you that what changes I just made are going to assure that we're going to live and survive. But what I can tell you is why I did it. I can tell you where I think it fits into our ability to progress. I will tell you about my fears and my concerns and see if you want to join in terms of taking on this mission. If we can accomplish it, my own belief is that we can have the experience of taking a company in trouble, facing disaster, and with a good core value, and we can turn it into one of the world leaders in what it does. Now, I know that's a huge jump, but that's the person I am, is I think we can take that jump, and I'm going to tell you how I think we can do it. So it isn't just an ideal, there's a pathway to pull this off. But how many people in their lives get the opportunity to take something tiny and small and trouble and turn it into something world class? If we pull it off and if we get to where I believe we can get to, imagine that life's experience. It's like climbing Mount Everest, for goodness sakes. But to do it right, you have to be in it with me. And that means I have to share with you what I know and what's happening. Okay, I'm not going to share with you how I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm scared. I don't think that's pertinent to it. But I do have to share with you what our financial situation is, where we are in terms of our money, what that means to you in terms of your payroll security, and what that means to you in the future. My promise to you is that we will become the key players in the future organization as we go forward. So that is essentially where I started with transparency, which was essentially saying, look, let's do this. Let's do this together if you want to. But if you want to, it has to be based on our reality. So as I began to move forward and build our company with our group of people, and we survived, and we became successful, there were moments in time that were just shocking. For an example, there was a time when someone broke our license key and began to resell or sell our product in other countries without us even knowing. We started to know because we got phone calls for supporting the clients because this company that broke the key only took money and didn't support the clients. And so soon enough, we learned. So to what degree do I go and share that information within the company and what's pertinent to it? So look, if our key was hacked, and the outcome of that wasn't impacting anybody internally, would I share that information? I may. But would I do it regardless of whether it impacted people? I may think about it. I may say, look, that's my job, is to figure that piece out and handle it. And I don't see the necessity of sharing every single detail of my life. That being said, I may mention it in a conference or a meeting or something, and people get comfortable knowing that what they're hearing may reveal things because I'm not necessarily hiding anything. I just don't feel that that particular piece was necessary. This piece of hacking, it was necessary to share it because it was affecting our reputation, not mine, our reputation. And at the same time, it was turning into work for our people because we were beginning to support customers that hadn't paid us. And I had to take that to the group and say, look, my belief is that it's our name out there still, and we still need to support the people using it because they in good faith thought they were buying it from us. And I want to do that. And I need you to get behind me in wanting to do that. But as you know, our resources are really tight. So we have to do it without hiring more people. So I'd love to have a discussion. Not if we're going to do it. I'm going to make the decision, and I think we should, and here's why. But I need to have a discussion on how we're going to pull that off with the same resources we have now that are barely able to cover what we currently do. And is there a way that we can structure this to be able to kind of do both? And we came up with ideas, and we discussed it, and we came up with solutions, and everybody owned those solutions. And the transparency allowed for that. I had another situation in terms of do I or do I not share this with our staff, to where we were facing a year where our banks were coming down on us. And by that time, we had about 150 employees. And I had to ask people, the only solution I could come up with myself was a solution to reduce across the board everybody's salaries by a certain percentage. And I looked at it as different options for that. And so here's what I did. I went to the company and I said, look, here is our situation. I think this situation is going to affect us for the next 6 to 9 months. And let me explain why. I think that there are only so many ways we can fund this situation and bridge us to 9 months from now. And here's why I think that. This is going to affect all of you because, in my opinion, I need to ask you all to reduce your salary for a period of time, that the only way we can repay it is in stock in the company, which it's stock in a very troubled company. But if we succeed, we can pay that stock back and give you a chance to cash it out on your own terms at a higher rate. But that's all in the futures, and I can't promise the future until we get through the next 9 months. And what I want to know is if you want to do this with us. But I want you to know that I can't think of any alternatives to what we're doing. And I can't sit and say, I'm willing to open this up for discussion and get 150 different responses, because one, that'll take too long, and two, it's my job to come up with those solutions. So based on this, here's what I see. Here's why we're in this situation. Here's the risks that go with the future. Here's why, if we bridge this, I think we can take a big jump in our business, but you have to contribute, and I think you should have some ownership based upon that. But I can't promise you the ownership is going to bring you value unless we all just keep working together. And you have to trust that I'm making decisions. I'm sharing why I make decisions, and you have to trust that I'm going to continue to do that. But you also have to decide if you want to join a situation where the leader of the company is me, and I'm making decisions like this. I'm the same guy making those decisions that took us into a situation that moved us to this difficult moment. So there's not perfection in this. So you have to make a decision. So here's what happened. I don't remember off the top of my head anybody leaving. And I don't remember any negative impact. I do remember that we got through this situation, took exactly 9 months, 8 months, I think. And then we began to offer payback if they wanted to sell that stock back at their salary plus, I think, 12%. And people saw that as good faith and goodwill. But there was one other thing I shared with people in being open. I said, look, this is a hard moment, But there is one absolute that has to happen if you choose to stay in this company. You can't start a second dialogue. You cannot have a second dialogue that undermines what we're doing. In other words, all right, I agree to that, but I don't like it, and he's a bad person, or I don't trust us, or I don't think that this is the job for me. You have to make that decision now. And by the way, I'll do everything I can to help you get other jobs if you want to. I won't be able to pay you severance if you leave, but I will help you get other work. And I'll let you stay here while we're helping you get other work, but at that reduced amount, with the condition that you don't start back talking behind it, because our company has to be completely open in our communication with each other. And that's what I'm doing with you. And that was the stage we had. And we ended up, through that process, it actually converted us to go from a hardworking but desperate company with a great core value to a company that turned into what I would like to say is a passion play. So as I've gone into other companies where other people have founded those companies and other people have built them, but they now need a turnaround, do I do the same thing? The question is, do I walk into that company and open that company's kimono up with all of the information or not? And so here's what I do when I walk into any company, and I tell the people that have hired me, the founders or the board, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to explain to them that my role is to turn around companies, and the only thing that got me into this company was the troubles that company is facing, combined with the opportunities that are very real if we can pull it off. And I'm going to then talk to that company about our reality in the same way I did with my own company. And we're going to have continuous discussions. And I'm going to meet with the entire company once a month, and I'm going to show you reports. I am going to show you our financials. I'm potentially even going to, if needed, show you our bank accounts. And I'm going to explain to you how the behaviors that we have are fitting into either the solution or it's not helping. And if you want to join in and we can turn this baby around, here's what I think are the benefits for you. And some of those benefits aren't financial, aren't even career changing. They're just simply getting to live through life's challenges and be able to know that you were able to accomplish it. And that's how I do every company. And I will tell you this, when I walk in and I say to those founders or a board, that's what I'm going to do. At the moment when they're in desperation, they're like, whatever you think you need to do, Steve, do it. When they hear me with that openness, talk honestly about it, they're all like shocked. They're all, oh my God, I didn't realize he was going to go that deep. And it's like, no, we're all on this together and we all have to know. Now, it doesn't mean transparency that you get to make every decision and that we as a group become a communal thought organization. It just means that I'm going to share with you what we do. And in fact, in my world, I'm a believer that when a manager gives direction, they have to give the reason why. But there are times that they also have to say, and this one isn't for negotiation. This one has to happen. But when they say this one has to happen, they say it has to happen because of these. So transparency in management is about sharing honesty while at the same time explaining why you're doing it and what your thought process is. It is not opening every decision up to everyone to debate that decision. It's still a structured way of sharing information in a candid and down-to-earth way talking to people on people's terms instead of being superior to what's going on, but reminding people that each one of us has a position and that comes with certain requirements and authority, and that we all have to respect that chain that goes into it. So it's 20 minutes now. I could go on and on with stories to you. I'm not going to, because there's just so many areas transparency can go to. But listen, I want you to know that this book, Lessons I've Learned in No Particular Order, happened because over my career, there were just a heck of a lot of lessons I learned in no particular order. And we're now going to go to book 2 of the Lessons I've Learned series. And in that, we're going to begin to talk about how it specifically can affect you if you're building a company. So where do you begin? What do you do? What are you going to face? And what are some experiences that I have had in terms of how we dealt with those situations and even overcame them and became wonderful and successful and proud. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I look forward to book 2, and I think we're starting that in 2 weeks. You take care. Bye-bye.